Hey guys, welcome back. Excited to have Heather on here. She's an amazing human being, such a gentle, great soul. She's gonna be talking about leveling up your life with tough but powerful conversations, which I think is so important for the direction we're heading. We had Frank on this morning talking about aspirations and what your aspirations are, and then Sebastian kind of honing that into how you can build your masterpiece. And um, now we're gonna take a little detour here and really talk about the powerful conversations. And I say detour, it still matters for you living out your aspirations and your best life to build this skill. But on top of that, this is such a big part of what is going on today in the world, is just people having fear about saying what they believe and stuff. So I'm really excited for Heather to talk about this. She has over 20 years experience in private practice, combining therapy and performance coaching. She's served celebrities, critically acclaimed writers, business owners through that private practice, and she really just is here to help people stop sabotaging their dreams. And in this conversation, she's going to take an even closer look at the things that are going on in the world right now and how we can approach those in the correct way. So yeah, really, she's got a company called Sourcing Joy that helps people do what I talked about earlier. And honestly, just so excited and grateful to have you on here, Heather, and really looking forward to what you're going to bring to this conversation. So,
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I am so happy and grateful to be here. And I got to tell you all, I am 100% super hopeful. It's not lost on me. I appreciate and welcome this opportunity to share more widely my thoughts on elevating and hope and healing. Our world is definitely facing some big problems, and we're off track. We're forced off track because of COVID, and we've lost our better way around this culture of the intense political divide. That's what I'm going to touch on today. But first of all, Tim, Dave, everyone behind the scenes, and everyone stepping up to speak at this summit, thank you. Thanks to all of you for showing up, lending your voice, and sharing your gifts. And to all the audience out there tuning in, friends, family, colleagues, people I've never met before, good for you guys for taking the time out to be part of this event. It's an amazing platform, and I'm really honored to be here this morning. I'm happy to share my experience as a psychotherapist. Like Tim said, I've been listening for over 20 years, sitting with the most diverse, exciting, and amazingly courageous people. I have the privilege of speaking with, supporting, and helping them find resources within to heal and grow, quietly, confidentially, independently. And I am here to tell you loud and proud, hope is not lost. The political divide. Let's discuss the problem. We need to understand the problem before we can start with some solutions. And please note in advance, you guys are entirely safe. I have no interest in speaking politically. Genuinely, I don't even want to touch this topic with a 10-foot pole, but that is the very reason I'm called to do so. I always lead tough conversations, and I offer solutions. I do it every day with my clients, one by one, hour by hour, day by day, week by week. And I'm pleased to speak with you about it today. I do think that we're all in a tremendous amount of pain, unnecessary self-inflicted pain, because hope is always there. It's never left. It's always present. We've just abandoned our position and place with hope. I have the honor and unique perspective of sitting each week with so many individuals and couples in my practice struggling with this very issue. Politics has never held such a huge place in my office, almost in pole position, over the last 5 years. It is impacting people personally. It is impacting them professionally. It is impacting them in their relationships. It's impacting their family life. It causes, I see it, depression and rage, anxiety, fear, and I hate to say it, but sometimes hate. The shift in our political discourse has been trending towards the intolerable. We all know this. It doesn't matter where you sit. We have abandoned hope, and it's a sort of a scary place to be. Families are breaking apart. I've seen grandfathers excluded from family gatherings because his political views don't line up. Friends are unfollowed. I had a teen just learning to speak his own voice be shut down, cyberbullied, and unfollowed by all his friends. Dating criteria? It now requires knowing someone's political position. And young people are refusing to meet based on a political position and really missing great opportunities. The most troubling one for me is seeing young children frothing hate and intolerance, modeled by and encouraged by parents. I have a personal example of that outside my private practice. A couple weeks ago, there was a political parade going right down Ventura Boulevard. I was on the way to get crickets for my daughter's lizard. And I stopped to watch the parade, and right in front of me out of a car stepped a little girl. She must have been 7 or 8 years old. And she double flipped off the parade. And I was so taken aback, and I looked at her and I was like, honey, that's not very nice. And my words almost seemed to pop this bubble. She looked at me, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I realized that wasn't her. And I kind of bent over and I looked in the car, and there was her father. He had sent her out to do that. Listen, the media has always been sensational. We know that, whether it's political or shark attacks. We also know that we've moved way towards opinion and feeling over fact, but we're billing feeling and opinion as fact. Listen closely, guys. Beliefs are not facts. If we behave as if our beliefs are facts, then anyone with a different belief is automatically wrong. Beliefs are cultivated and grown from life experience, input from family and friends, values, morals, priority, faith. Each one of us is so multifaceted and a beautifully complicated creature. We're not just one thing or another. We are not just left, and we are not just right. We are living in a world more and more defined by that all or nothing, the haves and the have-nots, polar opposites, with little ability or willingness to try and meet in the middle. Thank God we're doing this summit. I remember back in high school, I was a junior. My political science teacher, Dr. Zara, held a class introducing to us the difference between Republican and Democrat values, platforms, positions. Nobody really knew what we were talking about, but we dug in deep. And we looked at each position and learned and understood why and where they came from and what supported it. And we did our own values and morals exercise to try and figure out where we fit. We were able to have amazing discussions about our differences. It happened to be an election season, so our homework was to clip out newspaper articles, because that was our only form, newspaper articles, and bring the papers in. And we debate the different points of views about the same issues. And we always came to see that even though we had different points of view, we all wanted the same thing. We actually could leave class and go have lunch together, arm in arm, all smiles. Didn't matter that we were from different points of view. We have lost that middle, and we've lost the ability to be playful and curious about these differences. Where has the space between left and right and wrong, where's it gone? We don't want to learn anymore. We've become absolutely steadfast in our righteous point of view, and it's a big mistake, guys. We surround ourselves only with like-minded, living in this echo chamber, hearing only from those that affirm our point of view. Change and connection cannot happen if we stay in our bubbles of like-mindedness. We're not built that way. I recognize COVID has certainly enhanced this sense of bubble living. It's increased some isolation, and it's pushed us more towards dependence on media for information and, dare I say, disinformation. Therapeutically, this way of seeing and being in the world is unhealthy, it's unsustainable, and it leads to anxiety, alienation, isolation, and depression. And I see it. Looking down into these polar positions hurts us all. We've adopted a stance of vitriol. These all or nothing belief systems do not allow for alternative point of view or ability for us to think differently for ourselves even. I'm right, you're wrong. No space here for discourse or compassion or collaboration or understanding. When we feel pushed to choose a side, right or left, or even fearful to speak about being on any side at all, we've lost that middle, a meeting place of sharing and learning and coexisting. The political divide has literally burnt the bridge of communication and connection. In a country where we work so diligently to embrace difference of religion, difference of color, difference of culture, we challenge ourselves to always do better when we fail. We try to embrace difference and we try and reject bias. We're absolutely always a work in progress, but with the best of intentions. I can confidently say this is true. Each and every one of us is good, and each and every one of us wants to do good, be better, contribute, help, accept, be accepted, and thrive. We failed in one area around tolerance. We've surrendered tolerance of individual, unique thought. Input from media and the polarity of position it incites in has purposefully or accidentally stripped away individual thought. I can literally tell you which side a person favors because they're simply reciting the talking points of their favorite cable channel. It's not their voice. Here's the irony. And I have the privilege of seeing this irony play over and over in my office. One side thinks the world is doomed and democracy as we know it hangs in the balance. And the other side very well may be purely evil. The other side thinks the world is doomed. Democracy as we know it is in the balance. And the other side might be evil. And I have to giggle, because where does that leave us? The irony. It leaves me to believe that we've stopped talking to each other because we both share the same desires and hopes and fears for our world. Under the hate and vitriol, we both fear losing what we all treasure. Hope is not lost. Let's build that bridge back. Let's build back the bridge of communication. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with him. It starts with her. It starts one person at a time, right here at home. Listen carefully. It is our thoughts that create cause, and the world reflects the effect of our thoughts. It starts here. It is our thoughts that create cause, and then the world will reflect back the effect of our thoughts. I'll give you a fun example. Let's say you are finally in the market for a brand new car and you've done your research and you have landed on the car of your next car, the car of your dreams. You're going to get an Audi. You're going to go test drive it at the end of the work week. Audi is your intention. I guarantee you, your commute back and forth to work, back in the days when you were commuting back and forth to work, all of a sudden you're going to see Audis. You're going to be like, oh my God, there's another Audi. Huh, I love Audis. There's the Audi. Oh my God, I can't believe how many Audis I'm seeing. It's so funny. Audi's the car I want to get. I'm going to test drive it this weekend. It is because you put your thought there and the world reflected back to you your thought. It's very powerful stuff. It's not magic. It's kind of magical. So if we choose our thoughts carefully and we choose love and hope, what do you think you're going to see in the world more? It's there. It's just up to us to change our thoughts and tap into it. When we choose to think and motivate ourselves through hate and fear, that's what we're going to find. Change and hope and peace, it starts with us at the core. It's not some international powerful movement. It's us, our core perfect souls. We need to tap back into this first and use it to foster hope and build connection in this great divide. How do we rebuild tolerance of thought, reconnect, and watch hope grow before our very eyes? We decide to do it better, all of us. Here's some suggestions, dare I say rules, to follow as ambassadors of hope and healing around the political divide. Be willing to swim in the gray, the black and the white, the left and the right. Big, strong anchors, but in the middle is this beautiful, flowing, fluid current of possibility and connection. Course correct yourself when you find yourself locking down in a position. If we support the poles, they stay super strong. They stay unbendable. They will weaken when we move to the middle and exchange ideas and support each other's differences, and other people are going to follow, I promise. Adapt the notion that an absolute right does not exist. That can be hard for some. But when you adopt that position, you're open to receiving others' points of view. Most important, adopt a curious and playful attitude about your life and your engagements. Curiosity cannot exist alongside judgment or fear. I have a great example. A long time ago, when I was a young mom, my oldest son and I were coming back from a busy play date at the park. He was probably 1.5 or 2 years old. I was in a fast clip to get home because it was close to dinner time. I wasn't paying attention very much. And all of a sudden I heard these strange sounds coming from him. Almost like E.T., like ee, ooh, just this wonderful sound. And I didn't understand what was going on because I couldn't see him through the jogging stroller. So I parked it and I walked around side. And what I saw was my little boy covered in dirt and sand and drool and sugary fingers from his fruit roll-up, had a bumblebee, a big fat fuzzy bumblebee perched on his finger. And he was oohing and eyeing as he was petting that little bumblebee, curious and accepting. I think that's just such a great image to call up, to invite yourself to be curious. It's not childish. It's completely open. And that's what we need more of. When you do meet political differences and encounters, enter it with first from the desire to learn from them. Start your dialogue with, please teach me. Teach me what you believe. Disarm habits of defense and anger. I actually did that this weekend at my college high school reunion. A pack of us girls were walking to the elevator for cocktail hour. And somehow something political started to fly, and boom, there were two polar opposites. And one person said, I don't even think we can share a room together. And it was sarcastic, but it was kind of meant. And I just stepped in and I said, ladies, hold on. We have 30 years of friendship. We have so much we love about each other. We cannot let this ruin our evening or our friendship on the way to a cocktail party. And just kind of calling out the fact that there's so much more to each of us, to just polarize and shut down was not going to serve. And I actually was ready to have an engagement, but it just neutralized the whole conversation. Nobody had to change rooms. Everybody had a great time. Run an evidence survey in your own life. Pay very close attention to your daily life, your daily interactions, your neighbor that waves, the person that lets you turn right first, the grocery worker that helps you out, the doctor that takes the extra call late at night, the business partner that doesn't leave you hanging on a big deal. Hope and connection and goodness is right there when we don't polarize ourselves. Stay local. Stay present. In the very present moment, when you tune into that and tune out of international news or grinding stories, I guarantee you're going to just see kindness and helpfulness, supportiveness, community, and hope well and alive. You're going to see it's healthy. It's thriving right under your nose, just waiting for you to plug into it. Whenever you're ready, I implore you, seek it out. Seek to see it. It's there for you to join in. But where is your real superpower? How do you as an individual inject more hope and change into the world? It's within. Before you look outside yourself for answers, look within. Do the work to heal your own hurts. Our core beliefs are huge players in shaping everything about us, including our political positions. While core beliefs lead people to have different political opinions, they also obscure areas of agreement because they lead people to have different moral language about the same thing. So understanding how our beliefs and our moral language shape our political views can improve our chances of seeing that we actually all share the same goal. But when we don't do the work for ourselves, our personal pains create a lens, and it's a negative lens, whether it's fear or hate, that colors the way we see ourselves, the way we see others, and the way we see the world at large. My talk kind of started macro about the political divide in our country, but I'm bringing it home to where we can really affect change. The biggest, most important, gigantic universe is the totally miraculous and complete universe of you. You, your soul, your well-being, your gifts, your purpose, and your unshakable goodness. I'm literally writing a book, so strong is my passion and certainty about the power from within. When we pivot away from us and we entangle ourselves with things outside, we abandon our ability to lift ourselves up. We stop leading with curiosity about ourselves. When we do lead from within, our passion and our purpose, and share our gifts and our openness, we immediately shift from powerless to purposeful, like that. So when you feel yourself go astray, go back. You can get right back into purposeful. And leading your life purposefully in the world gives everyone else hope. We truly contribute greatness, goodness, connection by living our best selves. I call it healthy selfishness, but it's the best gift that we can give the world. We celebrate and see the best in others, lift others up, and adopt that stance of curiosity and wonder. No one is any longer seen as one-dimensional, black or white, all or nothing. I invite each of you to double down on yourself, your well-being, and your efforts to source hope and more joy. I promise you it's contagious. And I said earlier, I really believe it's magical. Hope and joy is a truly soul-satisfying sense of well-being. And in that space, there is no room for vitriol or judgment, anxiety, or pain. Trust me, everyone's going to want what you have. This is the very reason I started my company, Sourcing Joy. I choose to work with amazing people that are doing amazing things in the world through contribution in business. I support the leaders and entrepreneurs that are driven in purpose and success to seek joy and fulfillment on their journey. Because when they tap into their joy and become unstoppable, their contribution ripples out into the world in exponentially amazing ways. I see it happen over and over again. It all starts with us. It all starts within. Your one superpower that you forget you have a lot of the time is choice. It's always waiting for you. You always can choose how to think about a particular moment, and it will directly change your path and your outcome. No one can rob you of your choice to do it differently. Lead the crusade in choosing to inspire and hope. Melt the barriers we've built by accident. I'm going to say by accident because it is not our authentic selves. Right-size your efforts at every encounter. Keep it small and local. Please turn off the TV and the social media. Find some real eyes to look into. Connect with a real voice and a warm heart. You're going to have a completely different experience. What we all see in the media, it is not humanly possible to experience what happens in Portland or Russia or Florida or Alaska and global warming all at once. But we are bombarded all at once. It's not possible to be there and experience all at once. Take it slow, take it one person at a time, take it in real time. Start with yourself, build out with your family, step outside your door. The world needs more of this from each of us than it ever has before. One by one, this is the way we reconnect to hope that's been there waiting for us to come back home. Each one of us taking care of ourselves, being open and curious, and healing from within is going to build back that bridge of communication. And I 100% believe that with all my heart. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Heather. That was amazing. I have a question here from the audience. It says, if the edges are the anchor which drives the conversation and potential for progress, how do we ensure those perspectives will be passionately covered if we don't take on that responsibility?
Meaning holding up the poles.
Yeah.
So without being political, because that's not my position, the poles are there, but we've all moved to the poles. You know, there, the entire spectrum is important. We need to also move into the middle. The poles are important, just like the middle. We've lost the middle ground.
Mm.
So that's my point. I'm not saying upend the poles. But difference is important. We have to be able to talk about difference and tolerate difference. We have to be able to meet in the middle and exchange ideas. And if you go back to your poll, that's okay.
Awesome. So what would you say is so let's say someone is trying to have a conversation with someone who disagrees with them. What would you say are a couple things you can do or optimal ways you can go about it in order to ease like that tough conversation?
I think everybody, okay, I'm just generalizing because it's not everybody, but so many of us are so defensive and ready to be in a fighting position. It's become a habit. It does a lot of damage. So it's really about disarming that tension and anger. And like I spoke earlier, I think our best power is to be curious and not meet that, but ask to learn from that. The best thing we can do is say, you feel really strongly about that. Tell me how you came to understand that, or what supports your belief. I want to learn from you. When we tend to get into these arguments, we're not listening to each other. We're literally writing our little, oh, I've got a rebuttal for that. Oh yeah, I've got a rebuttal. We're not listening. We're writing our response. We're not listening. So I've done it over and over again, and I haven't had it fail yet. If it doesn't end a tense conversation, it continues a productive one. And so lead with curiosity, and don't lead with your point of view or opinion. Ask to learn from them.
Yeah, I love that. That reminds me of a story I heard about. There was a guy who, I think there's even a TED talk on this, but there was a guy who he was a older black man, and he befriended someone who was in the KKK, like as a grandmaster.
Yes.
And
Yep.
and he actually he didn't try to convince him of anything. He normalized like himself to people. They had conversations. He tried to understand him, and after a while, the guy ended up leaving the KKK, and over his life, I think it's been something like 50, 100 people that he's got to leave now, and it's such an incredible point. I think we think like people don't respond to the idea that that there's something wrong with them, like you've got to, and that's the problem that's kind of created this, like when we demonize the other side, I think. So I love that, be the bridge first is kind of what you said. And
that's right. And when we live in those echo chambers, like the white supremacist echo chamber, you're not going to meet the humanity and the beauty and the difference. Right. And so that's a fantastic example. Yeah. We need to seek out the different opinion, not hide from it or hate it. And as a therapist, anyone that comes into my office, there's nothing wrong with anybody that ever comes to my therapist. You can't approach humanity that way.
Right.
It sets it up for a horrible conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's such a key point to what we're, our third theme here, right, of like healing the political divide, and as well as I think of empowering community. And there's such a need for this right now, and I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your thoughts to get it from the perspective of someone who dives into people's brains every day, is amazing. And so yeah, I guess finally, just I know you mentioned Sourcing Joy LLC is your website. Is that the best place for people to learn about you or?
Absolutely. They can learn about me there. They can email me at heather@sourcingjoyllc.com as well. Um,
Awesome.
I love having tough conversations and I love healing hearts. So thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, it was amazing. Always a pleasure. And enjoy your day and the rest of the summit. And thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye,
All right.
everyone.